Centennial Parade, 1986, 100 years and growing. 100 All-American years, the theme for the Lamar Centennial. As our parade gets started, it's being led by the Lamar Police Department's motorcycle unit. And immediately behind that, the color guard from Fort Carson, Colorado, and the Fort Carson Band. 60 to 70 volunteers have been working for months putting the final touches on this parade. The parade promises to be a long one, as the estimates from the parade chairman, Andy Wyatt, have it set at between 2.5 and 3 hours. And we have well over 200 entries into this Centennial Parade. Former residents of the community, along with longtime residents of the community who have moved away from Lamar, have come back for the celebration. Celebrating has been going on all weekend, will continue throughout the day today. Not the best day for a parade. Originally, the weather forecast was calling for sunshine and the high temperature of 82 degrees. By parade time, the forecasters were saying the temperature should be hanging right in around 65 to 70 degrees, and the clouds should have been breaking out. However, we are under a heavy overcast and a gusty, chilly wind. But that doesn't matter. There's thousands of people lining the parade route up and down Main Street in Lamar, Colorado. The police sirens in the background, fire department and police department vehicles. There you have it, coming into view, ladies and gentlemen, from Fort Carson, Colorado, just south of Colorado Springs, the Fort Carson Band. There are a number of floats in the parade, more than 80, I understand. Has some last-minute entries even boosted that number further. Behind the Fort Carson Band, an equestrian unit. Riding what appears to be Arabian horses. And right in front of those Arabian horses, the Grand Marshal is Darrell Perdue. Now, Darrell was one of the first graduates from Lamar High School, and he indeed has one of the largest Arabian horse farms in the United States. I understand it is probably the third largest in the U.S. I've had the opportunity in the past to ride Arabian horses in Turkey, and they are a fine, proud animal. Behind the Grand Marshal, Darrell Perdue. We have little Mr. Centennial, David McDonald, and little Miss Centennial, Carrie Sparks. And other equestrian units now. The Vaquero Saddle Club is down in front of you. And that is the Vaquero Saddle Club's floats being pulled by a local Clydesdale, I understand. And on that float, are various members of the Vaquejos Saddle Club. And there's the mini wagon. By the way, the Queens is Joanna Smith. Yonda Smith is the princess, and they are sisters. And there they are coming into view for you now. All right, let's go back now into the old cars. Dennis Burr is driving a 1937 Ford two-door sedan, and behind him Keith Clark in a Model A Ford sedan. And the first float of our parade, ladies and gentlemen, will be along momentarily, as you see now, the Model A Ford sedan. Theme Trophy Award for the float from the First National Bank in Lamar. The first place commercial award as well. The First National Bank in Lamar, federally chartered in the mid-20s, was originally formed when Lamar's two banks combined into one. First National Bank here in Lamar. Here comes Feathers, the world's largest decoy. That, of course, is the Lamar Honkers Goose. And Feathers coming into your picture now with some of the honkers. The honkers have been going all over Colorado promoting the Centennial and letting people know that this is the biggest day in Lamar's history and the biggest parade that Lamar has seen in her 100 years. Behind Feathers, of course, the golden egg, the egg of hope. And it looks like one of the smaller units there from the fire department out in front. As the Lamar Fire Department will now come on the scene with Lamar's collections of fire trucks and also the ambulance. The fire department with some full-time paid employees, mostly volunteers, put in hundreds of hours every year. The EMTs as well. They'll be coming by with the ambulances, and they, of course, put in all their volunteer time. The old fire engine that you saw coming by first was one of the first Lamar fire engines, engine number 1. And now you see coming into your picture the number 42 engine, which has also been redone for the parade. And then Lamar's other pieces of fire apparatus. It was on this day, the 24th of May, 100 years ago, that the Blackwell Station heist took place, if you will, where they brought the Blackwell Station from a couple of miles out to the east into Lamar with the help of the Santa Fe Railroad, so they could build the Lamar home sites or city sites here. The latest addition to the Lamar Fire Department now, the snorkel truck, that's a 1964. And that's the latest addition to the fleet of fire protection vehicles here in Lamar. Of course, you've seen the emergency rescue van going by. Lamar's fleet of ambulances, I spoke about those a few moments ago. and mention the work by Lamar's EMTs, emergency medical technicians, and their life-saving efforts throughout the years here in Lamar. BPO Elks, Lodge number 1319. Over 800 members and 65 years old. And here comes the Elks float into your picture. A little chilly out there on the floats. Now the Melvin School float with Melvin's Pacers. Melvin School, of course, a school for the developmentally disabled. And behind them, Miss Colorado, that's Linda Trimmer. Linda looks like she's a little chilly this morning, too. The Dorenkamp Rodeo Company will be coming into your picture here, ladies and gentlemen. Right in front of them is the Lamar Centennial truck from the Car Palace, specially done, one of a kind for the Lamar Centennial celebration. And of course the Dorenkamp Rodeo Company, the riding company. Looks like to be about a dozen riders down there. They are producing the Old Time Rodeo, which is part of the Centennial celebration. They also produce rodeos all over the country. A number of their stock have been in national final rodeos on professional levels. The Dorenkamp Rodeo Company out of Holly, Colorado. Looks like the Clio Club float now coming into your picture. The Clio, or Friends Club, if you will. They started in the early 1940s. Women's Christian Temperance Union car. They were in the very first parade here in Lamar. And an antique automobile behind them was a museum piece from the Hamilton County Museum. Colorado State Patrol's vehicle that you just saw go by, it was a 1935 Ford patrol car, courtesy of the Colorado Courtesy Patrol, which was founded in 1935 with 50 officers, now known as the Colorado State Patrol, over 450 officers. Boise City Chamber of Commerce has an entry for you, and there it is, an old wagon provided by them and Sinton's Dairy. It's a milk wagon with horse. In 1880, Sinton's Dairy began with 12 red cows and a delivery cart. A couple of other old vehicles for you. Debbie Dilly, Miss Rodeo, Colorado, on horseback. And I believe behind Debbie are some folks that are involved with her, some of her court. Citizens for Hamilton, I'm sorry, my mistake, as we have a few folks that have already dropped out of the parade. The contingency for the parade to keep things moving was if anybody happened to drop out, that they were to stay on the side and pick up at the end of the parade so the parade could keep moving. Citizens for Hamilton. Now we have a number of alumni Pioneer kings and queens. There's John and Esther Sylvie from 1984. Driving in that Ford Mustang, Glenn and Irene Higbee from 1983, and a 1963 Studebaker. That will be coming into your picture momentarily. Ford Mustang, by the way, is owned and driven by Paula Williams. Lonnie Hoffman owns the 1963 Studebaker, and I believe she may be driving that herself. And then a 1966 Pontiac Bonneville. Inside it, Carl and Gladys Pearson. And that was donated by, here it comes onto your screen, donated by Doc Coberly. Now behind the Coberly vehicle, Otto and Minnie Centner. And they're in a 1949 Packard, ladies and gentlemen, a classic car for sure. And that car donated by George Temple for the parade. And we have Hedger and Leela Hall. They were the 1980 Kings and Queens, and they're in a 1942 Buick Super. And Dr. Edwin Likes donated the use of that car, and in the background, you are hearing the Campo Alumni Band. They're going to be appearing on a circus band wagon. The wagon was rebuilt by James Knighty, and Les Mock's Percheron horses are drawing that wagon. The band members played in 1966 in the Lamar Day Parade then, and they got together to help Lamar celebrate 100 All-American years. Also, the clown that's running around over there on the bicycle is Charles Horner. He's been in parades in Nebraska and throughout the state of Colorado as they come from all over the Southwest to help Lamar in her Centennial celebration. Now behind Campo and the Campo float, which will be coming back into view for you here in just a second, we have some Marines. I'll talk about them when they come on your screen. There they are, the Campo Alumni Band. All the way from Commerce City, Colorado, comes Battery Pop-Up of the 4th Marine Division, their color guard. That division originally formed in Pueblo, Colorado in 1962. There they are, and following them is the Lamar Middle School 6th grade band. This is their first parade, and the band has about 70 members. Education, of course, fuels the future. Happy 100th birthday from your education partner, Lamar. That is, of course, the folks at Lamar Community College. As you will see their float, a rocket ship with some college students in their actually high school students in their graduation garb. And now behind them, the Model A Ford Club of Colorado. They're headquartered up in Denver, founded in 1959. They have 200 family members, and they have all driven down in the vehicles that you will see from Denver, Colorado, to say happy birthday, Lamar. 100 All-American years and still growing. We don't have a list of the vintage automobiles, but you can view them as they pass down in front of us. All Model A's, the Model A Ford Club of the state of Colorado. Looks to be about 14 of them. And for those of you that have ever driven up into the Denver area doing the normal speed limits, down Highway 50 and up I-25, can appreciate the long ride from Denver in these vintage automobiles. We do have a prize winner that's going to be coming into view here in just a second. It is a first place prize winner in the antique automobile division. And it's the next vehicle that you'll be seeing here on the screen. They take pride. There it's coming now, your first place antique automobile division, complete with rumble seat. Take that back. There's about 24 cars in this car club. What threw me off, ladies and gentlemen, was a Chevy in the middle of all the Fords. how they got a Chevy Bel Air? Looks to be about 1956. How they got a Chevy Bel Air in the Ford Model A car club, I have no idea. But they managed somehow. Some of these folks from Englewood, Colorado, as well as all up in the Denver area, though, all metro Denver area folks. Wheat Ridge, car coming into view here shortly, is from Wheat Ridge, Colorado. How would you like to get stuck in front of somebody like that? Or that kind of a horn? There's the car making the funny noises. And coming into view momentarily from North Glen, Colorado, which is another Denver suburb. And a pickup truck even will be part of the Model A Ford Club. A lot of work to restore these vehicles and a lot of care, and wishing Lamar happy 100th birthday and bringing them down from Denver, Colorado. Coming into view now is a float from Sandhaven Nursing Home. And that float theme is Love is Ageless. Sandhaven, of course, has been in Lamar since 1959. There you have a good look as the parade pauses for a second at the Sandhaven float. And the king of the float is Floyd Nelson. Floyd sitting up and back by the rainbow. Residents of Sandhaven Nursing Home. Now coming into view is the 1962 Buick, known around town as the Michelin Mobile from DeLoach's Tires. And the very first Miss Southeastern Colorado, G.D. Crow Womack, is going to be coming into your view momentarily. She was Miss Southeast Colorado back in 1951. And behind Jeannie is Gina Newholt Montalongo, who was Miss Southeast Colorado in 1982. Here she is. A&B Liquor sponsoring the mules and the wagon. Bunch of folks there from A&B Liquor, and running around in various places will be P-Bob, Poobie and Friends. Clowns will be walking along the parade route at various places. You'll see them run in and run out. New cars now going by from the Consolidated General Motors dealer here in Lamar, the Car Palace. And also, there's an old Chevy truck. Now, this is a 1969 Chevrolet. It's got 550,000 miles on it, approximately. Those were original equipment, the original transmission, original engine. It has been used daily by Hobart and Ralph Halleck. The Eclipse comes into view now. The Eclipse, of course, is a large restored antique wooden windmill. And right behind that, it's the Andy Wyatt for County Assessor vehicle. Andy is running for County Assessor here in Prowers County, as 1986 is an election year. You'll see a number of political floats that will be coming through. Southeastern Colorado Buckskinners will be in just a minute. There's a good look at the Andy Wyatt float. Andy Wyatt, of course, is the chairman of the Centennial Parade Committee, and they have done one fantastic job with this parade. Southeast Colorado Council of Buckskinners, mountain men on horseback. And behind them, oh, there we go, a nice look at the Buckskinners. Complete in costume, the mountain men on horseback. And right behind the mountain men on horseback is the Big Timbers Museum muzzleloader float. I'm sorry, the Big Timbers muzzleloader float. The muzzleloaders, of course, having their rendezvous just up north of the Cow Palace. That'll be going on throughout the day today. Has been going on for the last couple of days. 100 all-American years and a number of old tractors behind them. Paul Weber has donated a 1942 Allis-Chalmers tractor, a 1941 Oliver 70 row crop tractor, a 1934 IHC 12 tractor, and a 1932 IHC F20 tractor for use in the parade. And then Action Cycle and Machines Incorporated, their floats and their motorbikes, representing the history of motorcycling. They're behind the tractors. Some nice looking machines. Those tractors have had a lot of work put into them. "100 all-American years of motorcycles. Happy birthday, Lamar," from Action Cycle. There's a dirt biker. And the Action Cycle float. Next up is Cub Pack number 221 from Washington School, a 50th anniversary program of that Cub Pack. And then the Beta Sigma Phi float. As you see the Cub Pack float there in front of you. Beta Sigma Phi float complete with a lady driving tractor. First Federal Savings Bank opened up their new branch here in Lamar, Colorado. They opened their branch up this week, or actually I should say their new bank. The branch has been here for a while. And somewhere on that float, I understand, is supposed to be Pete Smythe. I see J.W. Edwards up there riding shotgun, double barrel and all. Now the re-elect Elwood Gillis float. Elwood Gillis, of course, our state representative, running for re-election this year. A Ted Strickland for governor float. Coming into view now. And the Cub Pack 225 float is right there. 100 years, 75 years of scouting, 100-year celebration in Lamar. Cub Pack 225. Miss Lamar in 1930. Catherine Dodge riding in the back seat of that car. It looks like Catherine might have her granddaughter sitting up on the back hump. And behind Catherine Dodge is the Naval Air Reserve Center of Denver Color Guard. And they were established in 1965. Unit USS Midway was commissioned in 1982. Off in the background, you hear the McClave Band. McClave High School Band playing Conquistador. They're 55 members strong. Let's listen to the music for a moment, shall we? McClave High School Band. Our next entry is a float from Mount Olive Lutheran Church. It's a replica of their building, and they are celebrating their 50th anniversary. Jesus Christ, 50 years, our cornerstone is their float theme. Charles Bean in a 1927 International ton truck. A wrecker there. Third place commercial float coming up next from Lamar Food Stores. Jim Rizzuto for State Senator, District 2. Jim, finishing his first term, is running for re-election. And right behind him, the antique automobiles by Veers Furnishings in Lamar and La Junta. Veers, of course, here in Lamar, bought the Tidswell furniture store that had been in town for 76 years, if my memory recollects correctly. Smallest jet in the world. We'll be giving an air demonstration this afternoon out at the Lamar Airport. And it is the Coors Silver Bullet jet airplane. I don't have the exact dimensions, but that looks like a wing tank off of most planes, size-wise. That's a small one. There it is, the Coors Silver Bullet jet airplane, sent down especially for the Lamar Centennial celebration and that air show this afternoon. Coming into your picture now is Truman Mulberry and his covered wagon, 100 All-American years. And behind Truman, we've got Sean Lawrence, a boy rider, and Lana Lawrence, the lady rider. Misty Ming coming into your picture. That's Miss Baca County. And her attendants, Christy Dickinson. The Lamar Dealership Association, a number of the dealers in town providing vehicles for the royalty that is coming in this float. Now, from Bent's Old Fort National Historical Site, the oxen, wagon, and outriders. The fort was originally established along the Santa Fe Trail back in 1833. As I told you, it is indeed a National Historical Site. The Bent St. Vrain and Company traders established Bent's Fort. There's Leslie LaRue, Jonathan LaRue, the man rider, Leslie the girl rider, Jamie Moreland, the man rider, and Ty Jones, the man rider. A couple of Lamar's seniors riding in the parade. And we have an award winner coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Third place in the Antique Automobile Division will be coming up in front of you here momentarily. And they are Paul Weber's car. There's a 1921 Model T Ford Touring car, a 1930 Model A Ford Coupe, and a Viceroy buggy and horse is in the back of the pack. That, of course, the 1921, and then moving into the 1930. And the Viceroy buggy and horse. As we said, this is an election year, and Jose Joe Hernandez is running for Prowers County Sheriff on the Republican ticket. The entry sponsored by the Committee to Elect Joe Hernandez Sheriff. New Christian Life Center. It says churches are a vital part of Lamar's history. The New Life Christian Center. And their prayer number, 336-HOPE. 336-HOPE. And another commercial entry coming your way in just a moment. Taco Juan, the Taco John mascot, 17 years here at Lamar, Taco John's. And the big announcement that everybody's been waiting for officially, in addition to the Taco John family, is the Bressler's 33 flavors of ice cream, which will be coming into Lamar to help it kick off its next 100 years. The Bent County Register float and the Lamar Daily News float is coming up next. Now on that Bent County Register Lamar Daily News float, it's a recreation of the first paper of Lamar, the Bent County Register. Coming off the press, it's a Chandler and Price Franklin hand press, and it was brought to Colorado back in 1861, and it still works. It's from the Colorado Press Association, and the Lamar Agronomist 4-H Club float following that up. And then we have Clinton Kelly with some classic automobiles for you, and Marvin Lane and a 1962 Tempest, which is coming onto your picture now. Vote for Louise Dorenkamp, County Clerk, with 12 years of experience, running for re-election. Women Helping Women is the theme of our next float. That float sponsored by the business and professional women here in Lamar. And now we're into some more equestrians from the Creamer Ranch. There's the buggy and a lady rider and a man rider and some pack animals. How would you like to take a look at a classic fire truck to help Lamar celebrate its 100th anniversary? Well, you're going to do that. It's a 1924, in fact, owned by Clarence D. Welk. Behind that, you'll see a 1952 Chevrolet. But first, let's look at that fire truck loaded with clowns who are out there waving and just clowning around to help Lamar celebrate 100 All-American years. And there's that 52 Chevy. The lady rider behind the Chevrolet. And now we're going to move to the Twirlers from Wiley, Colorado. It's a marching group. They are from age 2 through to age 13. "22 twirlers in all as they march past from Wiley, Colorado. And behind them, their pickup car. When you're dealing with 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, sometimes those come in handy in long parades like this one. The junior Miss Southeastern Colorado for 1953, Eileen Rogers Pottorff, is up on top of that car. And behind her is the VFW's color guard. Well, here they come, folks. You can hear them in the background. It's the Lamar High School Band, the Super Savage Sound System. 60 members strong. And there in the back row, of course, you see the Savage himself, and appropriately wearing a graduation cap, as the mortarboard lets us know that Lamar's seniors graduated this week. There you have it, the Lamar Super Savage sound system. VFW post number 3621's floats. Of course, the veterans of foreign wars. Behind the VFW, Grace Lutheran Church here in Lamar, 100 All-American years. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary here in Lamar this year. Their anniversary celebration comes on June the 1st. The representation of the Christ and the resurrected tomb. Cecil Land driving his 1950 Chevy Deluxe. And then Clarence Frazier had a 1930 Ford Roadster saying, hey, congratulations, Lamar. Happy anniversary. And let's think back to the good old days. The good old days before Lamar had dial telephones, when you had to get in touch with the operator and she'd patch you through. The next float, Mountain Bell Retirees floats. And their theme, of course, the good old days. Rick Haller walking in front of his float, the Rick Haller for Sheriff float. Rick also running on the Republican ticket for Prowers County Sheriff. You know, the Vaquero Saddle Club has a rich history here in Lamar. They originated the Lamar Days Parade back in 1947. And that's their float that's going winging by us now as they've sped up their pace just a little bit. They're also sponsoring the Gymkhana this afternoon. Right now you're looking at the HUD's Antique and Campground entry. Some Longhorn steers, a covered wagon. And Mo and Joe are the steers, by the way. They're 6 years old. The campground's 15 miles west of Lamar, out on Highway 50. Mo and Joe kind of having a little problem getting started out there. Prowers County Commissioners Joe Hasser, Robert Temple, and Darrell Cipher are all riding in automobiles to say happy birthday, Lamar. Harv's Auto Mart vehicles going by is his entry in the Lamar Day Parade. Oh, there we go. The Prowers County Commissioners not riding in cars. They're riding on the back of that old Ford that's going by right now, the old pickup. And right behind them, the Colorado Army National Guard Color Guard. And they've got 11 vehicles. They're located down at the... Actually, they've got 8 vehicles. They were originally scheduled to have 11, and they're located just south of Lamar on Highway 287 at the National Guard Armory. As we watch the Army go rolling along, the National Guard. In the background, you hear the music of the Lamar Eagle Pride Band. They'll be by in just a second. But before that, we have another float for you. And the float that's coming into your picture now is the Knights of Columbus float. And right behind it will be the Knights of Columbus Color Guard. The Knights of Columbus and the KCs. Knights of Columbus, of course, is related directly with the Catholic Church. A laymen and lay persons organization. And the first Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus was in 1950. Thomas H. Cavanaugh, who's in the car. And there they are, the Eagle Pride Band. And we're in a parade rest situation by the Eagle Pride Band. Things further up the line that have already passed are slowing down. Oops. Looking the other direction now, that's down up north, actually, on Main Street. And the thousands of people, literally thousands of people, lining both sides of Main Street, watching the Lamar Centennial Day Parade. Proud day in Lamar's history. Started back in 1886. Lamar was founded, lots were sold, and the city government was organized. And the Lamar Eagle Pride Band about to flap their wings, if you will, and march down the street. And there you have the entry from Flowers and Weddings by Gay. Their float. It is a reproduction of their one of their FTD bouquets. And yes, there are live people inside those flowers. Prairie County Sheriff's Posse now coming into view. Sheriff's Posse was originated in 1964 with the aid of the Sheriff's Department.
This evening at the fairgrounds. They will be delighted to put on for your pleasure and enjoyment a 45-minute performance, bringing to you not only precision drill riding, but our dressage riders, our liberty riders, trick and fancy.
And the boat also part of the Sheriff's Posse.
Our Roman riders, and much more. We do indeed hope you'll come out
On the truck is Joe Elmore. She is the Prowers County Sheriff Posse Queen, or was, between 1971 and 1973.
Again, the sweethearts of the equestrians, 43 lovely young ladies from Golden, Colorado, representing the internationally famous Westonaire. A pleasure to be with you here this morning and this evening in Lamar, helping to celebrate your great centennial.
And you heard the announcements right from the Westerneers announcer. The riding group does come from Lakewood, Colorado. It is a youth riding group, 36 years old, and has 50 members. The Westerneers will be performing tonight down at the Prowers County Fairgrounds, of course, before the Old Timers Rodeo. And the girls in their traditional Western garb, the red slacks, and the red paisley vests and red paisley hats, white shirts, red bow ties, with their flags. Westerneers doing a little demonstration for you there in front of us, so we catch part of their group. Here we go. "100 All-American Years" and Valley State Bank. The Valley State Bank float now coming through behind the counter, the money counter, complete with a visor, is Bank President Steve Sherlock. At the back of the float, representing modern days, is Barb McVicker, and she's sitting, of course, at a computer terminal. And in between is the rainbow of money from 1886 to 1986. Second place in the antique tractor division goes to our next entry. That is a John Deere tractor. It's a 1938G. The Lamar Twirlettes Marching Group, formed in 1983. And on the vehicle behind them is Liz Decker. Now, Liz is Miss Majorette of Colorado. Things starting to warm up just a little bit. Sun's trying to break through the crowds on this Centennial Parade Day. There she is, Liz Decker. Now, our next entry is from Valley Memorial Funeral Chapel. It's an 1872 horse-drawn hearse. Of course, Valley Memorial Funeral Chapel was established in 1919. And that's what they used to bring them out to Boot Hill with back in the days of the Six Guns and the Cowboys and the cattle. They used to come through Lamar. Lamar was a major stop along the trail. Our symbol of heritage, Heritage Savings and Loan. 85 All-American Years, Heritage Savings and Loan, their entry. Well, it took 100 years, but McDonald's finally arrived on the scene this week to help celebrate the Centennial. Lamar's McDonald's store opened up, and Ronald McDonald is riding on the McDonald's float. They started out with one store back in 1955, 31 years ago, and they have 9,000 stores all over the world. Here's Ronald McDonald saying, "It's good to be here. Our family welcomes you and your family." Ronald McDonald. There's some of the old folks walking along with the Lamar Truck Plaza entry. And Lamar Truck Plaza entry being pulled by one of the tractors from H. Manning Company. It's from the Rancher's Restaurant at the Truck Plaza. It says, "We join you in Lamar's 100th anniversary celebration. They're always here when you need us." And by the way, an interesting note about the Lamar Truck Plaza float. It's a manure spreader, a 1900 model to be exact. And for those of you who have the opportunity to ever go up there, you will find that they have a manure spreader which is used as their salad bar, and that's what that is to show, with the oversized salads and stuff. Now, a classic from Ragsdale Farms, a 1925D, a 1927 GP, and a 1936A John Deere tractor. There's all three of them out there, and it looks to me like they're all running. Of course, the 1935 doing the pulling, sitting on the floats, the 1928 GP, it's running, and so is the 1925D. From the Ragsdale Farm, wheat, cattle, and kids. A company that came before Neoplan USA and helped establish Lamar worldwide was WHO Manufacturing and their famous tub grinder. They were established in 1946 and do have worldwide sales. All over the world you will find the WHO Manufacturing grinders. And now from H. Manning Company. Some of their tractors will be coming by. They were organized in 1959. The 1986 Case International, the 1942 International Farmall is sitting up on the trailer. And we go back to the big guys. And that is a Steiger Panther 1000, a Cadillac of the tractors. The Colorado Army National Guard from Pueblo, bringing in an 8-inch self-propelled howitzer. The neighborhood big shots. They're from the 2nd Battalion, 157th Field Artillery. Riding high in the National Guard, and looky there. The neighborhood big shots. There was some talk earlier of letting that go self-propel down the street, but I guess the decision was made it would tear up the tarmac too much. So they let it on the flatbed that brought it down here from Pueblo. Besides, I got a sneaky suspicion that kind of a track vehicle would have slowed the parade up just a little bit too much. Organized in 1955, the first Southern Baptist Church float from here in Lamar. And the boys and the bales, sitting out on the bales of hay, the boys and the girls. And Homer Ivy was the pastor. Well, one thing that helped win the West but isn't talked about too much in the history books, and that's the wives that stayed home and cleaned up all the dirt after the trail rides and after hustling the cattle. Well, you've come a long way, gals. You certainly have. The model laundry float is out there in front of you, representing washing machines from the washing board all the way up to modern appliances. And there's Bernard Neal in his 1927 Model T Ford truck. And that's a truck that moved the family from Maxville, Kansas to Vilas, Colorado back in 1935. Joe Darnell with the wagon being pulled by the mules, and behind that it's Leroy's High Plain Llamas. All righty, that of course Leroy Mock and Leroy High Plains Llamas. We'll talk about Leroy a little bit later on. He's coming up in just a couple of floats, ladies and gentlemen. It's part of that J.C. Blackwell Station float that's yet to come. Oops, have I let the cat out of the bag? Yeah, we've got a pretty one coming up. New York Life salutes Lamar's Centennial, and that is, of course, New York Life agent Judy Turpin, the Wallace Gas and Oil entry behind that. The way they used to deliver on tractor, of course, and then the modern day by tanker truck. First Baptist Church float, 1936 Oliver tractor. They've been serving Lamar for 86 of her 100 years. And the tractor has shared 50 of Lamar's 100 All-American years. That is an Oliver Standard from 1986, from 1900. First Baptist Church in Lamar. The Kmart float from Kresge to Kmart, 100 All-American years. Showing the way it was, of course, the old variety store. And then the Kids Corner float. Which is missing, but what is here is the Southeast Colorado Power Association float. They have a power safety demonstration rig with them. The sweepstakes winner, and also another winner, and I can't read the sign on it. There it is. Inside of the engine as engineer is Leroy Mock, mentioned Leroy a moment ago. And Pam is outside as the dancing girl on the side of it. That is what was used Monday in the recreation of the Blackwell Station heist. The heist that began Lamar, Colorado officially, of course, as they took Blackwell Station from a couple miles over in the east into Lamar. Lamar JCs and their presentation. By the way, the Lamar JCs are third oldest chapter of JCs in Colorado, and this year they are the Colorado's best chapter. They just won that trophy from Lamar Community College Horse Training and Management, a riding group, helping Lamar celebrate 100 All-American years. And then there's Jack Nazareth, who will be coming into view in a minute. It is 1928 Model A Ford Roadster. There he is. Float coming into view right now is the Lamar Education Association float. Happy birthday, Lamar. From the original schoolhouse to modern day classroom facilities. Excellent education. Lamar's Public Schools. And behind that we have Alan Ackley, a wagon and draft horses, a banjo picker, and the Indian Scouts. And another float from Wiley Oliver Sales, I do believe. Yes, indeed, Wiley Oliver Sales Incorporated. Helping Lamar celebrate 100 years and the evolution of the lawnmower. Okay, now the entry from Heath and Turpin and Sons. The modern day cattle drive. No longer using horses along the sides of the roadways. "100 years of progress in Lamar." That's the kids' corner float that was missing from a little bit earlier. And of course, coming into view, the Neoplan USA buses. They produced 3,000 buses here in Lamar, Colorado in their 5 years. Buses all over the country, from Los Angeles, California, all the way up into Pennsylvania and back again. Houston, Texas, Washington, D.C. area, Dallas, Texas. That's Neoplan's latest entry. And behind that big Neoplan bus, we have a little car. That's Glenn and Lenora Strom in a 1932 Chevrolet. Right behind them, Kevin Stroll is a man rider, and Shad Schaff is the boy rider, and they are riding front, or outrider, if you will, for the Hickory House wagon. I recognize Wayne Schaff up there on the riding shotgun on the wagon, if you will. And behind them is the Lamarlin Swim Team float. The Lamarlin Swim Team, of course, started in 1959 by Dr. Williams. There you have the Lamarlin Swim Team float. Sutrak's float. Sutrak's 5th anniversary. Lamar's 100th anniversary. Sutrak, of course, provides the air conditioning for a number of things, including the buses produced right here at Neoplan USA. And what have we got there? It's called Winnipeg, the Prowers County Youth Livestock Boosters. Those who care. The FFA. On the Lamar JC float coming into view, the Little Miss Liberties, Nikki Grasmick, Shelby Wirtz, Hannah Harbert, and the attendants. And then the Lamar Noon Lions Club, collectors of useless surplus that help keep Lamar clean, is what it says. And they're wishing, of course, Lamar a happy 100th anniversary. Leo King is hanging out the front. The Lamar Noon Lions, and right behind them, Cecil Steffens in his 1951 Henry J. And now what have we got? We have the Los Animas Bent County Chamber of Commerce floats. Los Animas River Raft Race, July the 13th. Bent County Fair and Rodeo, July 21st through the 26th. Len Anderson concert, July 26th, and the Sand Creek Powwow, planned for the fall of 1986. Got an award winner coming. This is the Mayor's Trophy award winner. The Calvary Baptist Church Lamar Christian School float. Calvary Baptist begun in 1956, the school in 1973. See if I can read some of the information on the side for you as it goes by. Intelligence, patriotism, and a firm reliance on Him who has never forsaken the favored land are still competent to adjust in the best way all of our present difficulties, said by Abraham Lincoln. Of course, the entry there from Lamar Speedways. From Colorado, Kansas Grain Company. Lamar was founded on and growing with agriculture, and of course the big American flag, which usually flies on top of their grain elevators. Here we got an award winner coming up now. Second place in the commercial division. The Porter Mason Band floats. Looks like an old pontoon boat and some folks having some fun, and on the top, well, I guess they finally brought him. The Beer Wolf is here. The Coors Beer Wolf. There they are. The old sentimental journey home. And coming up next is the float from the Lamar Rotary Clubs. 81 years of service to mankind, Rotary International. Lamar Rotary Clubs, 66 years of selfless community service. Of course, the Lamar Rotary goal is to wipe out polio by the year 2000 worldwide. The Eden Veterinarian Clinic, no kidding. Lamar loves you. We love Lamar, rather, 100 All-American years. The Colorado Mobile Float is up next. Stay in touch with telephones. And, of course, it goes from the telephone booth via radio link to the telephone to a tower. The Riverside Model Aero Club. Their float, they were begun in 1985, so they're a year old. And they are, of course, the radio-controlled airplanes. Let's see if I recognize. I see Rick Francis on that float. I don't recognize the other gentleman. And behind them, of course, we'll talk about that in a minute. Here we go. The float from the Taekwondo Club. High Plains Taekwondo Academy float. They began also in 1985. So as Lamar continues to grow. Ana Maria Arguello. Alrighty, and Oscar Arguello, riding Spanish horses imported from Spain, introduced to Colorado, one of the oldest breeds in the world. And that indeed they are. We're talking about Andalusians, a Spanish horse. Horses, one of the oldest breeds in the world, descendants primarily from the original prehistoric stock. The Spanish horse was well known to the Romans as a superior war horse. Of course, the VNS Variety and Eisenhower's Pony and Wagon have gone by. Southeast Colorado Shriners Club floats now coming into view, and that is a replica of the Salt Lake City Hospital. I'd mention VNS Variety Stores, new here in Lamar as well. They started out as a branch of Eisenhower department store. Louise Harper in a 1929 Ford Coupe. And the road department from Prowers County. Some road graders. In the early days, it was Golion the Grader. Donated by Jake and Mary Alice Broyles, by the way. And you'll see one of the modern day ones coming up too. Boy, they started out basically with your wheelbarrow and shovel and worked their way up. 100 years of progress. Now, the music of the Blackwater Band, which is a local country and rock band. I'll be playing up at Gibson's this weekend. Behind them is Tina Phillips, the Santa Fe Trail Queen for 1986. And her attendants, of course, Melissa Allard and Susan Atkinson.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Girl Float, the Lamar Rainbow Girl Float. I don't have the name of the rider, but they were formed in Lamar's early history, and now we have Gobin's recording history now and then, which is kind of a neat representation of the way it started, basically by hand on paper, and then with the older typewriters right up to the modern day machines, and the old mimeograph machine sitting back there up to the modern day copier. A buffalo going down Main Street. Yes, indeed. What else could you ask for? Part of Lamar's 100th celebration. Big Timbers Museum, the auction and the wagon. The wagon, by the way, is over 100 years old. And we got an old miner out there as well. Girl Scout float coming by now. By the way, Al Newhall was playing the old rider. I mean the old miner. 75 years old, Girl Scouts of America. Lively Stockman 4-H Club float. They've been in the Lamar Parade since 1975. Next up, the Lamar Church of Christ float coming into view now, and it says yesterday, today, and forever. The way it was and the way it is. The Napa Auto Parts, of course, a 1934 Ford. Valco in Lamar. And Valco and their representation of many of their concrete mixers in use now. Guess you could call that sort of the foundation of the city, if you would. Concrete in every foundation. Coming to view momentarily, you will see the color guard. And that is the Space Command at Peterson Air Force Base, color guard. Behind them will be a marching group. And it looks to be one of the Air Force's precision marching groups. Of course, Peterson Air Force Base taking a giant dive into the future as a headquarters location of the Space Command. There they are, the Peterson Air Force Base marching group. From Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now, this all worked out the way it was supposed to. The first float you're going to see is the Denim and Lace float. It is the Lewis group, followed by the Denim and Lace Bagley float. See how close we came. Of course, Denim and Lace, the square dancing groups. Only 198 of the entries have gone by so far. Well over 200 entries, closer to 300. And the Lamar Centennial Parade. Faith Friends Church Float. Faith Friends, of course, started in April 1979. Working together in the past and doing it today for a better tomorrow. Vote Democratic in 1986, the float says. That is, of course, the Democratic Party float. And the whole entry from the Democratic Party. The Romer for Governor people. Roy Romer, of course, from Holly, Colorado, has been the state treasurer and is now running for governor. And Bob Howerton running for sheriff. Prowers County Sheriff on the Democratic ticket. Joe Walker for sheriff, riding on horseback behind the Howerton float. And Democracy, Learn It and Live It. Lillian's the one. Lillian Norman for county clerk and recorder. Don't have any information about Lillian's tractor. And behind Lillian, the Tri-State roofing truck. Oh yes, an old Crown Victoria, 1955, and it has 63,000 actual miles. And it is all original. There's Otto Gomer in his wagon. And the entry now for the Norman Hill Drilling Company. They were started in 1976. And started way back in 1887. Well, the U.S. established a land office right here in Lamar, Colorado. C.C. Goodall came to Lamar and built his very first home. That was in 1887. Now, in 1888, the first bridge across the Arkansas River was constructed. And in 1889, the Prowers County government was set up, and the first water ran through the Fort Lyon and Amity canals back in 1889 as this area built its way with agriculture. Non-commercial entry coming up, ladies and gentlemen, a third-place winner, in fact. And as it comes up in front of you, you can see the truck before the float, if you will. 100 years in Lamar, the First Christian Church. And their float. Bet you didn't know Lamar had an opera house either. As you're viewing this tape, let me tell you that it was started in 1899. That's when the opera house was constructed. Okay, here comes that award winner now. Third place in the non-commercial entries for floats by the First Christian Church. And let's take a look a little close up for you. See if I can describe some of the boys and girls dressed up in their Sunday go-to-meeting clothes, and moms and dads sitting on bales of hay. That's the start. 100 years for Christ. A First Christian Church in Lamar. And then, of course, their school bus that they go around and give people rides to church with on Sunday mornings. Coming into view now is the Lamar Demolay float. They've been established since 1925. I don't know if you can hear those old honky horns in the background, but coming into view, southeastern or southern Colorado Antique and Classic Car Club. 20 years old, they have 75 members, and they come our way from La Junta. And what's this on bicycles? I have no idea. Let's see if I can find out for you. Bicycles and mini bikes, and what does it say there? Going by too fast for me to read. Back in 1907 was the year that the Lamar Daily News was founded. And would you believe, in 1911, Lamar High School won the state football championship. In 1916, they had a big land office rush right here in Lamar. To read all about it in the Lamar history book, published especially for Lamar's Centennial celebration. And there you have a truck coming into view. I believe that that is the truck from the co-op. Yes, indeed it is. The Southeastern Colorado Co-op. Farmer-owned service centers. And behind it, coming up momentarily, would be another co-op vehicle. Wishing Lamar a very happy 100th birthday. Stacked up on the side of the co-op truck, rather unique idea. All the co-op oil products and things available. Having some minor crowd control problems, which will slow up the parade for just a minute. Southeast Colorado Co-op service truck. Comunidad Hispanica float. Celebrating the Hispanic community. And there's Rex Heiner in a 1926 Ford. Behind Rex, we'll find the United Methodist Church float. United Methodist Church is 100 years old this year. They're celebrating their Centennial in the latter part of this year. And another minor crowd control problem a little bit further up the line. We'll hold this up for a moment longer. Hundreds of volunteers have made the celebration possible throughout this week. It will continue through today and on into tomorrow as well, and conclude with the Lamar Community Choir. And they're singing of Handel's Messiah. K-Bob's Steakhouse float. And following the K-Bob's Steakhouse float is Chuck Bowen in a 1917 Model T Ford Speedster. And it looks like the Zonta Club of Prowers County float is coming up. That float will be coming up in just a moment. That truck was part of the Chuck Bowen float. Fourth place in the non-commercial entries. Zonta salutes 100 All-American years. Zonta Club float. Mentions astronaut Sally Ride, Amelia Earhart fellowships received by the USA Lady Astronauts. Of course, Zonta Club formed in memory of Amelia Earhart. Leonard Pruitt's 1950 Ford station wagon, an old Woody, saying happy birthday, Lamar. And the Goodall Extension Club float, Goodall Extension Club, 37 years old. You've come a long way, baby. Goodall Extension Club with a couple of lady outriders behind it.
Yeah.
The Assembly of God children's float going by now. And an entry from A1 Rental. 59 years in Lamar. Ray Hayes in his 1926 Model T. And some more of the antique vehicles. There's an old Pontiac. Before that, an old Studebaker. I can remember my dad having a car like that when I was a youngster. Giving away my age here. And let's see who we have up on top of that Cadillac for you. That is Miss Southeast Colorado from 1952, Darlene Carr Kermer. And some of the cars from Dean Motor. Some Cadillacs, and if I'm not mistaken, it looks like an old Pontiac Tempest taking up the rear, which you'll see in just a minute. Colorado Air National Guard, from Jennies to jets, extensive technical training and educational opportunities. Extra pay, all it takes is a weekend a month. How's that for an advertisement? And of course, the Colorado Air National Guard and their float. Warren McKertrick has a buggy pulled by a gorgeous Palomino. A couple Clydesdales pulling the Rundell Ranch, the Rundell Ranch freight wagon. And we've got Carl Milliard as a man rider. And the folks now going to start coming in from the Lamar Trail Ride. Some of the folks that braved the trail ride, they started in Caddo, Colorado, and came in old Western style. After all that riding, I'm surprised to see that many in the parade. A little saddle sore, I guess. Valley Fire Care Service van will be coming in shortly. And now I know what a sandrail is. Right there, that's a sandrail. That's Claude Schultz, his sandrail. And I can remember seeing those racing around the deserts of Nevada. I never knew what they called them, but now I know. Lamar Racing Club and some of their stock cars. First cars on the flatbed were in the sportsman class. And a bomber for you there. There's a good reason why these cars are on trailers and in tow. If you've ever been out to either one of the two racetracks in Lamar, you'd understand. You wouldn't be able to hear anything. As they, of course, run, in some cases, some souped-up engines. And they also don't run with any kind of mufflers. The May Valley Speedway pace car, and behind it, one of the vehicles in the Centennial 4x4 mud drags tonight out at May Valley Speedway. Now that truck, stands 8.5 feet tall without the trailer underneath it, runs on an alcohol and nitrous mixture, and it has 386 horsepower. How would you like to be behind the wheel of one of those, dragging through the mud? Ah, yes, a new addition to the library system is the Prowers County Read Runner Bookmobile, the Book Express. And the A&B Body Shop entry. Entry from Reese Motor Company, a couple of entries from Reese Motor Company. The all other entries vehicles, all other entry category, a number of vehicles, some of the cars that drive out at the racetracks, and some of the mud racers have gone by. And the photo you're about to see, some of the 70 some odd volunteers from the Lamar Centennial Parade Committee and members of the Lamar Centennial Committee who have worked endlessly, hour upon hour, to put this whole Centennial celebration together. And you guys did it good. They did a real good job, ladies and gentlemen. Our hats off to each and every one of them. Volunteers that have helped keep things coordinated. Of course, the parade secretary on the Centennial of the Centennial Parade is down there, Janet Coram and her husband. And also on horseback is Mr. Andy Wyatt. He's got the white flag in his hand. Andy, of course, the parade chairman. I hope you've enjoyed the Lamar Centennial Day Parade. And a special thanks to the Lamar Centennial Committee for asking me to do the narration for you. I'm Ernest Anthony. God bless, and somebody else will be here in another 100 years. Weather didn't seem to dampen this parade at all. Even though it was overcast and a little on the rainy side, we didn't get any mist, but it looked like it was going to. 100 all-American years.